Today we are celebrating 10 legendary songs that turned 60 in 2025, hits that not only dominated the airwaves 6 decades ago, but still resonate in our souls as if time had never passed. If you have memories of the 60s or simply love music that never dies, stay with me. Let's start with number 10. 10. In the Midnight Hour, Wilson Pickett. We kick off this nighttime journey with In the Midnight Hour by Wilson Pickett, a soul anthem that arrived in 1965, like a lightning bolt straight from Stax Studios in Memphis. Picture the dim lights of a club, sweat in the air, and that irresistible groove, making your feet move without a second thought. Pickett, with his raspy and fiery voice, recorded this gem alongside a team of legendary musicians, including Steve Cropper, who co-wrote the song during an impromptu session in a hotel. Released in June of that year, it soared to number 1 on the R&B charts and crossed over into pop with a force few expected. It's a song about waiting for midnight to set the soul free, and that raw passion made it an instant classic. The 60s were full of youthful energy, and this track was the heartbeat of endless nights, where soul music intertwined with life itself. Listening to it today is like lighting a candle in the darkness of 60 years ago, a reminder that music could be pure electricity. Devadoe, Tambourine Man. The Byrds. Next up is Mr. Tambourine Man by The Byrds, a hit released in April 1965 that takes us straight to the sunny streets of Los Angeles. Originally written by Bob Dylan, The Byrds version transformed folk into something new, a jangle pop sound with 12-string guitars shimmering like bells. Roger McGuinn, with his crystalline voice, took Dylan's poetic lyrics about a mysterious tambourine man and wrapped them in harmonies that seemed to float in the air. When it was released, it became an instant hit, reaching number 1 on the Billboard charts. At first, some folk purists saw it as a betrayal of Dylan's acoustic style. However, this blend of electricity and melody marked the birth of a genre that would influence bands like R.E.M. and Tom Petty years later. In 1965, the world was changing. Young people were searching for freedom, and this song became an anthem for those dreaming of escape. Listening to it today feels like catching a breeze of hope and rebellion, an echo of an era where music began painting with brighter colors. 8. I Got You, I Feel Good, James Brown. We turn up the energy with I Got You, I Feel Good by James Brown, released in October 1965. This track is pure soul dynamite, with those iconic screams of I feel good shaking you like an earthquake. Brown recorded it in a Miami studio, surrounded by his band, tight as a clenched fist. And when those horns kicked in, funk came to life. At first, some executives doubted its almost wild energy, but once it hit the airwaves, it shot up to number 3 on the Billboard charts, becoming an anthem that defined the pure joy of the 60s. In an era of social tensions, Brown brought an explosion of life that made people forget everything for a few minutes. His impossible dance moves and electrifying voice became legendary, inspiring everyone from Michael Jackson to modern hip-hop. Listening to this today is like opening a window to 1965. The sweat, the soul, and that feeling that the world could move with you if you just turned up the volume high enough. 7. Unchained Melody, The Righteous Brothers. We slow things down with Unchained Melody by The Righteous Brothers, a classic that arrived in July 1965 and wraps around you like a warm blanket. Originally written in 1955 for a film, this version by Bobby Hatfield and Bill Medley took it to another level with Phil Spector's epic production and Hatfield's soaring vocals. When it was released, some thought it was too slow for the rock craze, but it climbed to number 4 on the charts and became a romantic standard. In 1965, as the world spun fast with protests and change, this song offered a moment to feel something deep. Its magic shone again in the 90s with Ghost, but in the 60s, it was already a beacon of pure emotion. Listening to it now is like looking at an old photograph. It takes you to a place where love sounded eternal. 6th, Stop. In the Name of Love, The Supremes.
Stop.
We continue with Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes, a Motown hit that arrived in February 1965 and still makes us raise our hands. Diana Ross, Mary Wilson, and Florence Ballard recorded it in Detroit with Holland Dozier Holland. And that mix of perfect harmonies and a catchy chorus shot to number 1 on the Billboard charts. At first, some at Motown doubted whether repeating the pop soul formula was the right move, but this song proved that the Detroit sound could conquer the world. In 1965, the Supremes were queens, bringing glamour and elegance to a generation dancing through social change. That "Stop" with an outstretched hand became iconic, influencing modern pop from Madonna to Beyoncé. Listening to them today is a reminder of an era when soul was sweet yet powerful, an echo of nights filled with rhythm and dreams. 5. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, James Brown. We're back with James Brown and Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, released in July 1965. This track marks the birth of funk, with a rhythm that grabs you and won't let go, recorded in Charlotte with his band in top form. Some executives initially saw it as too different from the smooth soul of the time, but it reached number 8 on Billboard and won a Grammy, proving that Brown was creating something entirely new. In 1965, while rock was exploding, this hit introduced a groove that made hips and hearts shake. Its raw energy paved the way for the funk of the 70s, and artists like Prince, while its riff remains an eternal part of music's DNA. Listening to it now is feeling that spark of the 60s, when music dared to dance differently. Yesterday, Beatles.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
We climb onto the podium with Yesterday by the Beatles, released in September 1965 as part of Help. Paul McCartney wrote it after dreaming the melody, recording it solo with his guitar and a string quartet, something entirely new for the Fab Four. At first, some in the band and at EMI doubted this melancholic ballad, so different from their upbeat rock, but it reached number 1 and became an eternal classic. In 1965, the Beatles were evolving, and this song revealed their deeper soul, touching a generation that was beginning to look back with nostalgia. Its simplicity and sadness influenced sophisticated pop, from Simon and Garfunkel to Coldplay. Listening to it today is like opening a diary from the 60s, pure emotion that never ages. 3. My Generation, The Who. We pick up the pace with My Generation by The Who, released in October 1965. With its famous line, "Hope I die before I get old," and Keith Moon's wild drumming, this track was a roar of youthful rebellion. Recorded in London with Pete Townshend leading the charge, radio stations initially hesitated due to its stuttering vocals and aggressive attitude, but it climbed to number 2 in the UK and defined rock as a generational outcry. In 1965, young people wanted to break everything, and this song became their anthem, carrying an energy that still echoes in punk and hard rock today. The Who became legends, and this anthem remains a punch of eternal youth. Listening to it now is feeling that fire from the 60s that never fades. 2. Like a Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan. We're nearing the end with Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan, released in July 1965. This 6-minute track, with its piercing organ and razor-sharp lyrics, changed the game when Dylan plugged in his guitar and left pure folk behind. Recorded in New York with musicians like Al Cooper, some fans booed him at Newport for betraying his roots, but it reached number 2 on Billboard and revolutionized music. In 1965, the world was shifting, and this song was a mirror of freedom and confusion, influencing poetic rock from Springsteen and beyond. Listening to it today is like hopping on a train with no destination. Pure 60s magic. 1. I Can't Get No Satisfaction. I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, released in June 1965, is the king of this list. That Keith Richards riff, recorded in a burst of inspiration in Los Angeles, and Mick Jagger's defiant vocals took it straight to number 1 on Billboard. At first, some at Decca feared it was too raw, but it became the anthem of a restless generation. In 1965, rock was finding its voice, and this song was its battle cry: rebellion, desire, and pure electricity. It inspired everyone from Hendrix to punk and remains the ultimate sound of eternal dissatisfaction. Listening to it now takes you back to those days when anything seemed possible, an immortal echo of the 60s. Which one transported you the most? Do you have memories of these songs playing on the radio or an old record player?